Hello, good evening. Welcome to an earlier than usual Northwest Tonight with Phil McCann. Our top story tonight. The police watchdog is to launch a criminal investigation into the incident involving a Greater Manchester police officer at Manchester Airport. The family of one of the men who was injured has appealed for calm. Also tonight, Kenny Carter was stabbed to death in a row over bikes. Today, his teenage killer was given 17 years detention. How a gentle dog walk on a Lancashire beach ended in a dramatic seaborne rescue. You ain't seen nothing yet. We're Riverside in Paris with the Olympics opening ceremony just an hour away.
And while some of us have seen showers today, others have seen some lovely spells of sunshine. Temperature's not too high. Will they improve? Join me at the end of the programme. I'll give you all the details.
A police constable is to face a criminal investigation for assault over the attack which saw a man kicked and stamped on at Manchester Airport. The police watchdog, the IOPC, said it was arranging to interview the officer under criminal caution as soon as possible over the alleged incident on Tuesday. Well, there have been more calls for calm today, among them from Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham, and it's at his headquarters in Manchester where we can join our reporter Eunice Muller now. Eunice.
Phil, you mentioned that word calm, and that word has been used quite a lot today. And what Andy Burnham did today was to repeat those calls for calm after meeting, he says, a number of representatives from the community in Rochdale. There's a lot of concern over this video, which shows a police officer kicking and stamping a man on the floor. It's led to protests on 2 consecutive days, but there's also a fear that some may use that video to exploit tensions, and that's something they want to avoid. They believe it could be done for political reasons, and that's why Andy Burnham spoke to us earlier.
They don't know everything, and they can't know everything. Only the investigation can get to know everything, looking at all of the available evidence, and that is, we've all got an interest in that being able to do its job. You know, having these half-truths, untruths, we've seen it all in the last 24 hours, to be honest. It just doesn't help. It doesn't help anybody here. You know, whose interest are these people acting? Is it their own, or is it the community? I think it's very much the former, not the latter. It is time for Greater Manchester to be able to say to the rest of the world, let us move forward with this investigation. Surely the interest of all of us is to get to the facts, to get to the truth, and the right actions taken as a result.
And one final question. You're here responding to what's happened. We've had Paul Waugh, MP, responding. We've had literally everyone responding. But GMP, where's the Chief Constable? Surely people want to hear. They do. They want to hear from the Chief Constable. What would you say to the Chief Constable? I
would say that Greater Manchester Police has been working flat out, actually, this week, and not all of what they do is conducted fully in the public domain. They've worked hard to move things forward. Things have moved forward, and that is largely due to the work of GMP. I am sure the Chief Constable will judge the right moment to make an intervention. I face the same pressure. You know, why don't you make a statement? Make it now. And sometimes that can only add to the sort of tension or whatever. And it's about doing things in the right way, in a calm way, in a measured way.
Well, the incident has been referred to the IOPC, and a police officer is now being criminally investigated. What it said was that he's being investigated for potential gross misconduct for a number of alleged breaches of police professional standards. Now, this investigation will look at CCTV and footage that's been made available, but it could take a number of days.
All right, Eunice, thanks very much. Eunice Muller reporting there. Let's get a roundup of some of today's other news now. And a man's been charged with the murder of 36-year-old Ricky Berry, who was shot in Kirby earlier this month. Police detained 3 people in Shropshire earlier this week. They've now charged 25-year-old Adam Williams. The other 2 have been bailed. The overall number of crimes reported across Merseyside has fallen by 14%. Figures from the Office for National Statistics show a drop across the region of 8%. Lancashire had the smallest reduction of just 1%. The families of 2 Ryanair pilots who died in a crash on the M62 near Warrington have paid tribute to them. Captain Matt Greenhouse's family said he had passion for life, while Senior First Officer Jamie Fernandez was described as kind with a wicked sense of humour. Now, a boy from Manchester who was just 14 when he murdered another teenager has been sentenced to at least 17 years detention. The boy, who can't be identified because of his age, stabbed 15-year-old Kenny Carter in Stretford in January 2022. Well, Andy Gill was at the sentencing at Manchester Crown Court and he's there for us tonight. Andy, just remind us, first of all, of what happened to Kenny Carter.
Well, the background to this, Phil, was a dispute between 2 groups that happened the night before Kenny Carter was murdered. A group of boys from Hume and Old Trafford went to the Stretford district of Manchester looking for revenge. They went to some flats where they knew that Kenny's friends would be and stole 3 bikes. Kenny was just 1 street away from where he lived when he was attacked. Now, last month, the boy who was 14 at the time was convicted of murdering Kenny Carter by stabbing him in the chest. 2 other boys, aged 14 and 15, were convicted of manslaughter, and 18-year-old Latif Ferguson was also found guilty of manslaughter. 6 other boys in the trial were acquitted. Kenny's mum has been telling us about the effect his death has had on her and the wider family.
Anybody that knew Kenny, they're all left heartbroken, devastated, because he wasn't about drama, Kenny. He really wasn't about drama. And that one day that he goes out of the house for 10 minutes and he's gone.
So, Andy, what happened in court today?
Well, as we said, the convictions were last month, but the sentencing was this afternoon. Mr. Justice Goose said that he had no doubt that the knife used belonged to the 14-year-old who carried out the murder. He claimed that it actually belonged to Kenny and he'd acted in self-defence. But the judge rejected this. The court also heard that the boy who murdered Kenny, in a separate incident last year, had chased and attacked another boy with a machete, and in that incident, a 16-year-old victim had suffered deep lacerations to his arms. Mr. Justice Goose said that the tragedy of cases like this was that it ruined not just the lives of the victim and the families, but ruined the lives of the perpetrators too. He said incidents like this of knife crime with a background of gang violence were becoming all too common in cities like Manchester. He sentenced the 14-year-old murderer to 17 years detention. 2 of the others got 4 years for manslaughter, and Latif Ferguson got 5 years for manslaughter. The judge turned down a request by the media to be able to identify those under 18 convicted in this case.
All right, Andy, thanks very much. Andy Gill there at Manchester Crown Court. Now, a man who nearly drowned in the sea off Fleetwood has today been reunited with the lifeboat crew who saved his life. Holden was walking his uncle's dog along the sands when they were cut off by the rising tide. He admits he's lucky to be alive, as Phil Cunliffe reports.
Oh, come here, mate. Grab hold of his hand. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
The dramatic moment, Carl Holden and Ringo, his uncle's dog, were pulled to safety.
I thought I was going to die. I thought that was the end. I was saying sorry to the dog. I thought I'd walked him to his death.
Just 15 minutes earlier, Carl had been walking along Fleetwood Beach, yet blissfully unaware the tide was coming in and that he was surrounded by rising water.
The next minute, I've turned round. I'm in critical danger. You know, my life was at risk, and I was completely cut off by the sea.
Fortunately, Carl was able to call for help.
I thought 999, asked for the emergency. I had enough battery in my phone, so having my phone with me, you know, that saved my life.
The Coast Guard alerted the RNLI at Fleetwood, who immediately launched its inshore lifeboat with a 3-man crew, but the danger was far from over.
It was only because of his arms waving that we could pinpoint his location. So he was in a very dangerous situation, and the tide, especially there, runs in a foot every 5 minutes on the banks there, so it runs in very quick.
Thanks for getting me out, honestly. Thank you for saving my life, mate.
How's it going?
It's good, mate. We're all good now.
Today, Darryl and Carl met for the first time since Tuesday's drama. It turns out the two are old school friends. Darryl admits that Carl was lucky.
If he didn't make that call, we would have been relying on general public to see Carl in the position he was, which would have then delayed the launch time for ourselves, and the outcome could have been a little bit different.
2 casualties on board. We are returning to station. I just thought I was dead.
I'm told that spring tides at Fleetwood can move at a rate of 4 to 6 knots. That's 4 times the speed that an average human can walk.
The simple message is that anybody can get cut off by the tide, even locals who've lived here all their lives. The trick is to keep an eye on the tide times, to watch what's going on around you, carry a mobile phone with you so you can call for help if you need to, and if you do find yourself in a position like Carl did, lean back, float to live, get your ears wet, kick your feet up, and we'll come get you.
Come on, boy.
Thankfully, this was a successful sea rescue for one man and his dog, but sadly the RNLI say it won't be their last emergency. Phil Cunliffe, BBC North West Tonight, Fleetwood.
Scary stuff for the happy ending there. Right, the Olympic Games are upon us, and hence why you're watching us now and not Pointless. Some events have already taken place this week, but today it's all about the opening ceremony, and Ian Haslam is here to tell us more about it.
Some would say watching us is pointless, Phil, but I disagree with that. Yeah, they're normally glitzy affairs, these Olympic opening ceremonies, aren't they? And this will no doubt be a big deal as well. For our many North West Olympians then, the wait's nearly over as Paris 2024 officially begins with that huge opening ceremony that's taking place along the River Seine. North West Tonight's Davinia Ramos is among the crowds there this evening and has sent this report.
This is going to be an Olympic opening ceremony like no other. For the first time in its history, it'll take place in the heart of the city, not in a stadium. Boats carrying thousands of athletes from all around the world will make their way along the Seine following a 4-mile route and ending up right by the Eiffel Tower, which you can just see behind me there. Now, as you can imagine, organising something on this scale has not been easy. The French President Emmanuel Macron says that a plan B and a plan C is already in place. And as you can imagine, security is going to be incredibly tight. I can already see lots of police circling the area. Now, we don't know much about tonight's ceremony. Most of it's quite secret, but there are rumours that Celine Dion could be performing tonight. How amazing would that be? And we know that the flag bearers for Team GB are diver Tom Daley and rower Helen Glover. What a proud, proud moment that will be for them. Now, the weather's not looking great. I'm not going to lie, I feel like I'm back in the northwest right now. But let's hope that it cheers up. But whatever the weather, the eyes of the world will definitely be on Paris tonight, and she's going to deliver one hell of a spectacle.
Big event there, and a massive event in Super League later as leaders Wigan Warriors host second-place Warrington Wolves. It was Wigan who won when they last met in June's Challenge Cup final, which came just days after they'd narrowly won the team's first Super League encounter of the season. Warrington know a win tonight would move them level on points with Wigan. Well, Salford's Tom Aspinall is preparing to defend his UFC title this weekend in front of a home crowd at the Co-op Live Arena. He faces the American Curtis Blades, who he lost to in 2022. This was the pair facing off this week ahead of the fight, which is scheduled for the early hours of Sunday to cater for audiences in the USA. He's been speaking to our reporter Alice Scarf.
So, Tom, UFC Manchester, a huge homecoming fight for you. How excited are you going into this one?
I'm excited for it. I'm very excited. There's obviously a lot of pressure that comes with the territory, though. I think I do well under pressure anyway, so yeah, good fight, big event in Manchester. This is what I got into the sport to do, is nights like this. We're more than ready now to get an event in the Northwest, especially in Manchester. Like, it's going to be absolutely incredible.
You've spoken out about the start times that's going to happen here in the UK, and obviously you'd prefer it for the fans if it could be maybe an afternoon watch for the US fans and an evening watch here. Do you still stand by that?
I mean, I still stand by what I said. I definitely think that it would have been better doing it in UK time, but it's not, and there's nothing I can do about it. But it's happening. I got to accept it, and I got to accept that that's what we've got to do.
This is the fight between the two best heavyweights in the world, me and this man sitting to my left.
Curtis Blades then, Tom, obviously someone you know and have trained to fight against before, and obviously due to your injury couldn't. But how have you taken that training from then to now? Has that crossed over at all?
A little bit. I know what Curtis is all about. Like, I've been in the heavyweight division my whole career, and he's spent a lot of time in the top 5, so I've seen a lot of Curtis Blades. Yeah, I know what Curtis is all about, and I know how to train to prepare for Curtis. I think I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm all right with it.
Heavyweight
champion of the world, Tom Aspinall.
Last time I asked you what can fans expect, and you told them you were going to become UFC champion. You've done that. What can fans expect for this fight?
Yeah, just be ready for anything, because even I don't know what's going to go on. I have no idea, but I think I'm going to knock him out, yeah. That's what I feel.
Good luck to him, and that's a short sports in a short programme, Phil.
But nothing about you will ever be pointless, Ian. Not at all. Right, to arguably the most important part of the programme.
I'm glad that's what you went with.
Well, we heard about the drizzle that is going to be in Paris, that everyone's going to see in a little bit. What about here?
Some showers today. We definitely saw some in Marple. Thank you. Oh, David. We've lost the D on David. Avid on the low. David, apologies. We did have some showers in Marple. Equally, we saw some really pleasant spells of sunshine. And tomorrow, same again, it's another day of scattered showers. So thank you, Avid. And Lizzie for sending those pictures in. If you would like to send your pictures in, please do so. I will get it right one of these days. Follow me on socials, or you can, of course, become a weather watcher. Some more of you have done so. It's really nice to see what it's like in your part of the world. Speaking of which, how are we doing then for the weekend? It's not bad. In fact, it's going to get really quite good. We've got a showery Saturday on the card, so quite frequent showers through tomorrow, but high pressure starts to develop, settling down for Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. A whole 3 days of summer coming our way. So that's all thanks to high pressure. Before we get there, though, we've got this trough that's just bringing us those showers through tomorrow. We've got to get that through the way, then that pressure starts to build in from the southwest. So it is a good weather news story. As we head through this evening, well, actually, we've seen some really pleasant spells of sunshine, but for the Isle of Man and for Cumbria, overnight we start to pull in more in the way of cloud. We'll get some showers here. Some of those could be sharp, the odd rumble of thunder. Temperatures 10 to 12 degrees overnight. And then the breeze, fairly gentle, but it will be a bit fresher for coastal parts. So tomorrow, a day of variable cloud, sunny spells, especially further south at first, scattered showers. The showers will become quite frequent as we head through the day tomorrow. Again, some heavy, some thundery, but we get a clearance from the west as we head towards the end of the afternoon. So again, tomorrow night looks really quite decent. 17 to 19 degrees top temperatures. Then the good news, the high pressure builds. So Saturday night looks really pleasant. Light winds into Sunday, some mist and fog around. High pressure then stays with us through Monday and Tuesday, so much so we have a heat health alert. Can't get that one out. Temperatures could exceed 25 degrees as we go through Tuesday. Sunday, any early mist and fog will lift and clear, a light breeze, plenty of sunshine on offer, a lovely summer's day. Top temperatures between 18 degrees on the Isle of Man and 24 degrees inland. 24, possibly 25 as we head through Monday and Tuesday. At this stage, looks like we could see some showers returning for Wednesday. And
so it looked lovely and dry in Marple from Avid before, and that's basically going to continue.
Well, no, because you've missed out the showers, haven't you?
Yes,
You're not listening.
conveniently missed them out. I feel I should apologise again that we're not pointless. There'll be people wanting to quiz, and we're just not the people for that. I'll be back when the Olympics opening ceremony is finished, whenever that'll be. So I'll see you then. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.